Shalom, you reached the Heat Parade channel. My name is Isaac Wath. First and foremost, I want to say, call Halayim, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Harakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Haderach, where I learned this truth from, and who rule well. Salutations to the Backyard, the elect, the 144,000. It's 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes of Israel. 12 tribes of Israel consist of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and indigenous of America. The 144,000 being the governing body within the one-third. The rest of the one-third comprises of elect men, women, and children. Shalom to the Israelites scattered due to the diaspora and also the triangular trade. So our people come looking like different ethnicities, having various complexions. So this is not a black thing. We're not the black Hebrew Israelites. We're just Hebrew Israelites. Shalom to those that died in this truth. Says the dead should be raised up first. Those that will be accompanying Yahweh Shah on his return, including our King, King Mashah, who is King David. As always, it's an honor and privilege, honor and blessing to continue to do this work. The water Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah Ba'ashem, Harakwadash, for answering my prayers and permitting me to do such. Baba Kashah Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah Ba'ashem, Harakwadash. Allowed us to be an edifying lesson to at least one member of the Backyard, Haderach. So this video is going to be entitled, what does it mean when your prayers still get answered? You know, and that's my personal tool that replenishes my faith when I see that, you know, when I pray for certain things, for certain outcomes, you know, for certain blessings, I see that, you know, the Most High answers those prayers, right? Because they say that once you leave a certain group, then that's it, you know. But even in my circumstance, I prayed, you know, to be delivered from wicked men, you know, and to be able just to go back to my home city and just do the work, man. And, you know, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah granted those prayers, man. And not only then, but 13 years later, he is still answering my prayers. And, you know, the water Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. But this is Psalms chapter 86. I'm going to start at the top. It says, a psalm of supplication and trust, a prayer of David, or Dawad, or Dawadah. It says, bow down thy ear, O Yahweh, hear me, for I am poor and needy. You know, and when you really go into the scriptures, you find that a lot of men of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah weren't perfect, man. You know, some were thought to be wicked. You know, some were separated and ridiculed for being perceived to be wicked, man. Right? And of course, we know the story of David. You know, he committed 2 sins unto death. But what people fail to realize, the Most High has mercy on whom he wants to. And there's nothing no one could say. There's nothing no one could do about it. It says, preserve my soul, for I am holy. Right? He's separate because David was a man that wanted to be just as, you know, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah in his way of thinking. Right? It says, O thou my power, save thy servant that trusteth in thee. And you got to trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. that he's going to deliver you from, whatever circumstance. It might be evil niggas, it might be dogs, it might be law enforcement, it might even be from yourself, right? It says, be merciful unto me, O Yahweh, for I cry unto thee daily. And even our spirit makes intercession for us, man, in groanings that cannot be uttered. It says, rejoice the soul of thy servant, for unto thee, O Yahweh, do I lift up my soul. For thou, Yahweh, art good and ready to forgive, and plenteous in mercy unto all them that call upon thee. Right? So you got to call upon Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And sometimes it's frequently throughout the day. And he'll hear you, especially if you believe, man. And if you don't believe, if you don't have faith, you're supposed to pray for it. Right? It says, give ear, O Yahweh, unto my prayer, and attend to the voice of my supplications. All right, so let's look up that word, supplications. Because as long as the Most High is still answering your prayers, there's nothing no one can say.
Strong's H8469, Tachanun, Tachanun.
Which is, it's not what I want to see. For the Strong's definitions, Takanun, earnest prayer, entreaty, supplication. Let's go to, so in the Etma Online, supplication, 14th century, earnest request, entreaty, plea. But this is what I really want, to beg humbly, right? So supplication means to beg humbly, man. So let's go to Copilot, which it says mercy continues. Kasadayim, mercies, from root kasad, meaning kindness, favor, covenant, loyalty. Paleo, kasada or kasad, breakdown. Even when you slip, Yahweh's kasad doesn't cut off instantly. If prayers still get answered, it's because his mercy is active, not passive. Layman terms, you're not abandoned, he's still rocking with you. Right? So if you see that your prayers are still answered, and it could be something simple like you actually doing a video or you going out there on the highways and hedges teaching the 100% truth, then that means the Most High is still dealing with you. Proverbs chapter 15, verse 29, it says, Yahweh is far from the wicked. And one thing I do pray for is if I'm wicked, then put me to death. And I mean that, man. But, for some odd reason, and, the water, he still has me going out there fighting. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but he still has me out there fighting, right? And striving, for the truth unto death, man. Right? So it says Yahweh is far from the wicked, but he heareth the prayer of the righteous. And prayers extend to actually also putting curses on people, man. And the Most High answers my prayers on that. There's been a lot of people that are back in the spirit world because of prayers. More so outside of, the physical GMS camp than when I was in it. It says the light of the eyes rejoiceth the heart, and a good report maketh the bones fat. The ear that heareth the reproof of life abideth among the wise. He that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul, but he that heareth reproof getteth understanding. The fear of Yahweh is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility. So going back to co-pilot, Lashuan Kodash, Tazadak, righteous from root, Tazadak, meaning to be aligned, straight, justified. Breakdown. If your prayers get answered, it means you still have Tazadak alignment somewhere in your walk. Yahweh hears those who are still trying. Layman terms, you're not perfect, but you're not wicked either, right? So let's go to First Peter's chapter 3, verse 12. It says, "For the eyes of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua are over the righteous, and his ears are open unto their prayers. But the face of Yahweh Shai is against them that do evil." Right. So those that do evil, that's who Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is against. That's why you see people fall out. That's why you see people, have horrendous things happen to them. It says, "And who is he that will harm you if ye be followers of that which is good? And if ye suffer for righteousness' sake, happy are ye, and be not afraid of their terror, neither be troubled, but sanctify Yahweh in your hearts," which is your mind, "and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you, with meekness and fear." So I'm pretty sure this is quoting. This is Psalms chapter 34, verse 15. It says, "The eyes of Yahweh are upon the righteous, and his ears are open unto their cry." Right, man. So it's about what Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua thinks. It's not about what man thinks. And that's one good indicator that the Most High is dealing with you, is when your prayers are answered. It says, "The face of Yahweh is against them that do evil, to cut off the remembrance of them from the earth. The righteous cry, and Yahweh heareth, and delivereth them out of all their troubles." And I would like to say that, I've been delivered out of all my troubles, man. It says, "Yahweh is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit." The word, yeah, because I just went to order some tires, and the Most High was with me, man. Because usually you have to put a deposit on specialty tires, but the Most High, put it in the mind of an individual to go ahead and order them for me, because I knew I wasn't gonna have the money before they close, but I wanted to order them, today, so I could just go ahead and take my car in tomorrow, so I won't have to leave my car uh, over the weekend. Because when I was getting air, an individual told me that it's harder to get tires from the warehouse on the weekend. Especially if you tried to order it tomorrow. So, hey, the Most High was with me, man. So Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Arakach Wadash Ratazah, after camp tomorrow, I'll be able to just go ahead and drop my car off. And, I'll be able to pick it up the same day. Yahushua Ratazah, so I could be able to go to camp on Sunday. If it be his will, let his will be done. But it says, "Contrite adjective, broken in spirit by a sense of guilt, conscience stricken, and resolved to not sin again." So that's the spirit that you have to be in, man. Be of a broken spirit, man. And really, even if you're in that spirit, that doesn't guarantee that Yahweh Shem Shah has you in his favor or in their favor, you know, because a lot of people they fake the funk. Verse 19 is, and what proves that is, all these people that fall out, man. You would think that they're really serious about Yahweh Shem Shah until they're really put to the test. And the ultimate test, regardless what people's opinion is, if you could actually suffer the rebuke and do the work on your own. That shows ultimate faith, man. Not recommending it, but that shows ultimate faith. And to continue to do it consistently to the best of your ability and to the ability in which Yahweh Shem Shah bestowed upon you. So going back to Psalms chapter 34, verse 19, it says, "Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but Yahweh delivereth him out of them all." Right, so Yahweh Shem Shah will deliver you, man. You got to pray. And it's became a habit. It's became like a custom for me to pray beforehand, man. To pray during and to pray after. It says, "He keepeth all his bones, not one of them is broken. Evil shall slay the wicked, and they that hate the righteous shall be desolate." Yeah, those that hate the righteous shall be desolate, man. That's why they're in the predicament that they're in. It says, "Yahweh redeemeth the soul of his servants, and none of them that trust in him shall be desolate." Right, none of them that trust in him shall be desolate. So you have to have trust. Going back to Copilot, Zan, ear from Ru Azan, meaning to listen attentively. Breakdown: Yahweh's ears stays open to those he favors. Right. So his ears stay open to those he favors, man. But as soon as, you know, something arises that is a prime opportunity to or for you to lean on Yahweh Shem Shah, a lot of you falter. It says if he's answering you, it means he's still paying attention to your spirit. Layman terms, he's still listening to you on purpose. Right? Which a lot of you really don't even believe in Yahweh Shem Shah, man. Which that's going to be to your own detriment. This is Psalms chapter 51, verse 9. It says, "Hide thy face from my sins and blot out all mine iniquities, sins upon sins. Create in me a clean heart, a clean mind, a clean conscience, O power, and renew a right spirit within me." Now, this is David after he, committed murder and adultery. It says, "Cast me not away from thy presence, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me." Right. And the feeling is if my prayers don't get answered and, Yahweh Shem Shah turns his face from me, then, I'd rather just go back to the spirit world, man. This is the only reason why, I call myself sticking around is for Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah's sake, and taking each and every day as an opportunity to get closer to him and better in the spirit, right? It says, restore unto me the joy of thy salvation and uphold me with thy free spirit, right? Going back to co-pilot, Rakak, castaway, from root Rakak, meaning to distance, push away, breakdown, and prayers still get answered. Yahweh hasn't cast you away, or Rakak. You're still in his presence, still under his spirit. Layman terms, you're not cut off, you're still in the room. Right. Um, so let's go to Matthew chapter 7, verse 7, prayers and golden rule. It says, ask and it shall be given you, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. Or what man is there of you who, if his son asks bread, will he give him a stone? Or if he asketh fish, will he give him a serpent? If ye then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask him? Therefore all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them, for this is the law and the prophets. And a lot of you don't do that. You do things to brothers that, you won't want be done to yourself. And, through my own experiment, I prove that. A lot of you can't take the rebuke that you dish out, but you'll try to put hell on an individual to try to get him to lose the spirit. But when it's done onto you, you got your panties all wadded up, man. You got to treat people how you would want to be treated, man. And, I know I made a statement that I treat people how they treat me, but reflecting and analyzing my life, I never really did that, man. I treated people how I would want to be treated, man. And, one thing that I've always done was I showed appreciation to the underdog, the ones that were picked on, the ones that were outcasted from, the popular group, the popular crowds, the ones that, really didn't have any friends, and even with certain individuals, I don't like being around them when they prosper. And I told an individual this before. I don't like being around you when you're doing good. I like being around you when you're doing bad, man. So I can help you get to the position in which you're doing good, man. And then, I'll let you, you know, live out, that happiness, that victory, so to speak, man. But going back to co-pilot, Lashon Kadash, Sha'al, ask, Sha'al meaning to request, inquire, petition. Breakdown, answered prayer means your Sha'al is still valid. Your faith still has power, even if you feel weak. Layman terms, your connection isn't broken, the line still works. Right. So then I feel like my faith is so strong, whatever I want, man, I'm gonna get. And it's been like that man. Anything that I want and I pray for I get it or it happens, man. You know, and I believe it's gonna happen, man. Even when when I put curses on people, just as a Paul, I actually believe it's gonna happen because it happened so many times before. And when I put blessings on people, they get blessed. So it's very important when your prayers get answered, man. It's not about uh, what man thinks. It's about what Yahweh Shem Shai thinks. And if Yahweh Shem Shai is answering you, your prayers are piercing the clouds, then you're in a good position. But it says when your prayers still get answered, it means Yahweh still has mercy on you. You still have righteous alignment. His ear is still open to you. You haven't been cast away. Your faith still activates results. This is a sign of favor, not perfection. It means Yahweh is still dealing with you, guiding you, and pulling you forward, even if you feel unworthy. Let me see. Just bear with me real quick. Yeah, so with that, I hope at least one brother of the elect was edified, and I'm going to say shalom.